Well, hello conference and hello Harrogate. This is billed as the happiest place to live in Britain. A great place for us to promote and develop policies for a healthier, happier society that works for the common good. It's a place that likes to do things properly, particularly cream teas. Although I think the people of Harrogate will forgive me for not putting on a proper suit and doing up my tie, even though David Cameron seems to think that's a critical qualification for a political leader. And I will be rather careful when I eat those cream teas that there's no photographers around. You know, I don't have to worry about the bacon sandwich moment, but there could be a cream tea moment. Happy Harrogate is just the right place for a party growing fast, with membership more than trebled in the past year. And in the general election, we got more votes than we've got in every general election before, added together cumulatively. This is the party that's working together for the future, for a fair, sustainable Britain, that this May will turn the green surge into green seats. And that's already happening. We've just won 2 county council by-elections. We never used to win county council by-elections. So congratulations to the first ever Greens on their respective councils. Congratulations Claire Sutton in Dorset and Duncan Kerr in Shropshire. Now that Shropshire victory is of particular note because it now means we've got elected representatives in every county in the West Midlands. Congratulations to all who've developed a campaigning model that's so good that I found on a recent visit to Worcester, even the Tories are copying it. Can you imagine there are Tories out doing 60-second surveys? But those county council by-election victories are just a sign of the times for the Green Party in May. We've got opportunities everywhere from Sunderland to Southampton, Kendal to Exeter. The possibility for a Green Party with 44 new local parties that have opened up since the start of 2015. When I was elected in 2012, I promised to help make the Green Party a truly national party. We're getting there very definitely. Now, for many communities, there's the opportunity to elect their first Green councillors. There's the huge appeal of a new broom sweeping through dusty corridors, a challenger asking tough questions, scrutinising. That's particularly important in communities that have been one-party states, complacent, unchallenged cabinets, without ideas, without hope, without initiative. But it's also critical in places where they're trapped in the bish-bosh of two-party politics, stale and sterile. Greens are a breath of fresh air, new hope for communities that need strong, principled, innovative leadership, councillors who care, councillors who find alternatives amid the horrors of Tory-imposed Westminster austerity. Voters always know where Greens stand. Our values and principles are clear and consistent. They're maintained by you, Conference, our supreme decision-making body. But of course, there's a lot more in May. The chance to grow our number of councillors where we're already strong, in Bristol, in Liverpool, in Sheffield, and many others. And exciting elections for Wales and in London, and also for our sister parties in Scotland and Northern Ireland. These are elections that are conducted, as all elections should be conducted, under a fair, proportional system, in which simply, uncomplicatedly, voters can vote for what they believe in and get it. In Scotland, it looks like there could be a breakthrough. And for the first time, we could have a Green MSP representing every region in Scotland. And in Wales, we've got a great team of candidates with a hugely growing party. Good luck, Alice Hooker-Stroud, Amelia Womack and Lisa Rapido, 3 young women who could be a great first Green team in the Senate. They're offering a better future for Welsh politics, and we're also offering an even better future for London politics. Because, of course, in London, we're seeing a changing of the guard. After 16 years of sterling service, Jenny and Darren are stepping down from the London Assembly. We ask them to sit up here on this occasion to deliver to them a very simple message. Thank you, Jenny and Darren. And building on the foundation that you have made, we're looking to grow our representation in London and to see a great result for Sian Berry in the London mayoral race, to build a better future for London. And remember, Sian's odds are considerably shorter than Jeremy Corbyn's were when the Labour leadership race started. Of course, we also know that we've got another critically important vote this year. A vote that could have an irrevocable impact on Britain's future, the vote on our membership of the European Union. Last year in Bournemouth conference, you directed the party to run a strong, bold campaign calling for Britain to remain in the EU, and that's just what we'll be doing. Greener in, that's the hashtag. Greens for Europe, you can see over there, that's the organisation. Green MEPs, our own and from across the continent, will be at the forefront, pointing out that we flourish best. We will work together jointly on the problems that we face. The referendum campaign's only days old, and yet already it's clear that it's going to be dirty. It's going to be from many sides, short on facts, and big on playing on fears and insecurity. That's not the kind of campaign that we're going to be running as Greens. That's not Green politics. Instead, we'll be focusing on the positives of Europe, the way in which free movement of people enriches all of our lives, the defence of human rights and peace, the environmental standards, the workers' rights, the limits on bankers' bonuses, one with the leadership of Philippe Lamberts, who's with us here today in the audience. Thank you, Philippe. And maybe since we all need to think about quality of life and important things, let's think about cake for a second. As I've already said, in Harrogate here, we love some jam, scones and cream. But occasionally we might all like a Black Forest gâteau occasionally, or a tartare pommes, or a Polish poppy seed cake. Europe means we have that diversity, we have that richness, we have that choice. Now we'll be focusing particularly on encouraging young voters to engage in this debate, to make sure, as a vital, critical point of start, that they are registered to vote. There's a new movie out this year, a remake of The Big Friendly Giant. The referendum, of course, already has its own BFG, Boris, Farage and Gove. That's definitely not one suitable for children. I know that those pictures of those grinning 3 amigos will make many want to turn away from the debate, but it's really important that voters don't. It's critical that everyone has their say in this vital question of Britain's future. The referendum in Scotland saw a turnout of 85%. I believe that this year we can do the same across the UK. We're family. We're citizens on a continent in which we are all really in it together, breathing European air, living beside European waters. Just one sample of the quality of the argument coming from the Leave campaign. We'll get back our fish, they say, as though fish carry passports and stop at borders. Or one other sample, who can resist? UKIP's MEP for Scotland blames the EU for his limp toast. He thinks his toast is power as that of a candle, when what he really wants is a nuclear reactor for his toast. Of course, back to serious politics. We do need many reforms in Brussels, but then we need many reforms in Westminster. That's not an argument for giving up on democracy, despite the fact that we have a government that has the support of just 24% of eligible voters. The arguments for remaining in the EU are powerful, they're sensible, and they're the future. Surveys show that young voters are overwhelmingly positive about EU membership. This is a political battle we should only have to win once. Demographics are on our side. But the Leave campaign, they only need to win once, need to win by one vote, and they could achieve a permanent isolation of Britain. We must not allow that to happen. Because what that would mean is a Britain turning away from its geography, away from its proud history of offering refuge to those who need it, away from cooperation and friendship. This is a Britain not just damaging itself, but damaging the rest of the EU, the rest of the world. We cannot let them do that. We must not allow the Out campaign to use the general dissatisfaction, to use the distrust for our undemocratic government, to use a fear of the future to drive an out vote in the EU referendum. The EU vote is not a vote of no confidence in this government, much as Windy could do with such a vote. It's a vote for our long-term future. But it's also critically important that over the next 4 months, our politics isn't dominated by the European referendum to the exclusion of our pressing economic, social and environmental issues. Last week, I happened to read the words of Daniel Finkelstein, or rather to give him his full title, the Right Honourable the Lord Finkelstein, one more conservative beneficiary of David Cameron's House of Lords largesse, writing in the Times. Baron Finkelstein claimed that this is the best ever time to live in Britain, and that our and similar societies are the best places to live ever. Now I know that Harrogate is a lovely place, but even here there's a food bank that caters to the needs of people who can't put food on the table, who are struggling to keep a roof over their head. On recent visits to Bradford and Rochdale, I saw whole communities struggling to survive. We live in two Britons that seem farther apart every day. There's the Britain of the many in Rochdale, in Bradford, and yes, even in Harrogate, who are really struggling. And that is not Baron Finkelstein's Britain. And of course, this isn't unique to Britain. In America, the surprisingly strong progress of Bernie Sanders in the Democratic presidential race has seen the same concerns reflected. And yes, you might have noticed we do have one Green Party member, former Oxford councillor Larry Sanders, who's following that race with particular attention. That's, of course, when he's not representing us as our new Green spokesperson for health with another great team of Green Party spokespeople. But But what we're in is a Britain of the 1% and a Britain of the rest of us. The Britain that puts us near the bottom of the global league tables for the health and well-being of 8-year-olds. We are near the bottom on well-being and health of 8-year-olds. Britain that sees death rates rising to the worst recorded since the end of the Second World War. Death rates that are attributed to David Cameron's slashing of social care services, attributed to austerity. The Britain that's seeing our NHS privatised, fragmented, threatened by the treatment of our precious, caring doctors, nurses and midwives. It almost seems like Jeremy Hunt is trying to drive them away. We must not let David Cameron and his friends use the referendum as cover to leave the hands of control our society in the control of the financial sector, the oil and gas sector, the tax-dodging multinationals. We cannot continue on this current path with the cover of the EU referendum. We must not be distracted. The referendum is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for David Cameron to escape attention for his threats to our human rights, the trade union bill and the proposal to abolish the Human Rights Act. As the Green Party, we will defend them. The referendum is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for Ian Duncan Smith to allow him to escape being questioned about his disgraceful treatment of disabled people. The Green Party will stand up for disabled people. The referendum is not a get-out-of-jail-free card for Nicky Morgan, for the state of our overworked, underpaid, Ofsted-tormented teachers, and the shortage of school places where local authorities haven't been able to plan for the future. We will stand up for our schools, our teachers, our pupils as the Green Party. What we mustn't do is let this Tory leadership campaign that's masquerading as a referendum campaign diffuse or deflect challenges, the destruction of social housing threatened by the housing bill, or the cuts to the employment support allowance. We must lay the blame for the state of Britain fairly and squarely where it belongs. That's not the fault of the European Union. The blame lies at the feet of David Cameron, of Gordon Brown, of Tony Blair and Margaret Thatcher. The rate of poverty now is double what it was in 1983. The percentage of people unable to heat their homes has trebled since the 1990s. The number of people skipping meals because they can't afford the food has more than doubled since 1983. We are where we are because of a neoliberal political philosophy that's assumed that greed is good, inequality doesn't matter, and we can just keep trashing the planet. It's a philosophy that's demonstrably failed. It's a philosophy that has to go. The year 2020 is too far away for us to continue on this path. We have to get rid of this dangerous, inept, callous government, this disastrous political philosophy, long before then. Our communities, our society, our environment cannot take any more of them. They are not, they cannot be the future. The floods over Christmas were a reminder very close to home here in Harrogate, that we're now living in a world that's warmed 1 degree above pre-industrial levels. We saw a huge global success at the Paris climate talks last year. That's a reminder to feed into the EU referendum debate about the possibility of working constructively together to solve major problems to work for our future. The success was an agreement to try to limit warming to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. That's a huge challenge, but with renewable energy technology coming on in leaps and bounds and costs declining fast, it's perfectly achievable. Instead of promoting energy conservation, however, promoting community-owned renewable energy, promoting public transport, promoting a green future, this government is leaving people in cold, deadly homes. It's encouraging, indeed it's subsidising the frackers, the oil drillers, the destructive open-cut coal miners. It's promoting new roads and new airport runways. This is not working for the future. It's clinging to the failed, dangerous past. As is true right across the political spectrum, this government is on the wrong side of history, the wrong side of economics, the wrong side of communities. But I'm not going to finish there, because I have to finish with hope. So a final thought about happiness, about quality of life, about planning for a better future that's at the whole heart of green politics. I'm hoping to find time while I'm here in Harrogate to visit the Mercer Gallery, to see the work of Dame Laura Knight. She was the first woman elected as a member of the Royal Academy of Arts. She was also the woman who recorded in paint the Nuremberg trials, a reminder of the importance of defending human rights, human decency, human care. Her story's a reminder of the place that art and culture have played at the centre of British society, British life, British values. It's important to remember that in the face of a government that seems determined to downplay, to devalue their role in our lives. We've now got a government that doesn't recognise that education should be for life and thinks that it's just for exams. We've got a government that doesn't value community theatre, a local museum, a youth arts group. It doesn't understand that they're not luxuries, but key parts of a good life. We must build for a future in which a good life, a life free from desperation and fear, is in reach of everybody. That's a future with a universal basic income, ensuring that no one need fear being penniless. A future with a new system of money creation that puts resources into the real economy rather than casino finance. A future where we all live well within the environmental limits of our one fragile planet. That's a green future. With the UK part of a kinder, fairer, more sustainable Europe. Let's all get together cooperatively, democratically, and build that green future together.